A percent is actually nothing more than a proportion. A percent is actually pretty simple. The idea of a percent is that we have a part and we are dividing that part by a whole, and it's represented as a value x divided by 100. So if I were to write the value 34%, we know that this is 34 over 100. 34% is a part of a whole. The whole in percent is represented by 100%. So when we say that you got 100%, you got everything. You got the whole thing. 34% is a part of that whole. And so we represent that as a fraction. 34 divided by the whole. The part being 34 and the whole being 100%. From here, we can do a bunch of different problems that deal with percents. And one of those problems can be the following. So for example, what if we were told to find what percent, so we were given this question, what percent, and I'll write percent as the percent sign, of 56 is 42. What I need to know is, first of all, I'm looking for what percent. Well, that percent is this value. X over 100, as we have seen, is a percent. So what percent, x over 100, is equal to what? Well, I need to know if 56 is the part of my whole or if 42 is the part of my whole. And it's all about how this is worded. So what percent of 56 is 42? So how this is written is 56 is my whole and 42 is my part. So that's going to be equal to 42 divided by 56. So what percent of 42 or what percent of 56 is going to give me 42? So if there was a percentage, like let's say 78%, is 78% of 56 42? That's basically what it's asking. And so we cross multiply. 56 times x is equal to 4200. And then we divide 4200 divided by 56. And that's going to be equal to 75. So the percentage here, x is equal to 75%. So that's what they're asking. What percent of 56 is 42? Well, x divided by 100 is equal to 42 is equal to 56. This is my proportion. 42 divided by 56 can be represented as a percent, but in order to do that, I need to represent it as a value over 100. Well, that value is 75 over 100. And if that value is 75, if x is 75, and this percent, because this is the percent, not x. X is just the part of my whole. This is the percent, x over 100. So what percent of 56 is 42? The answer to that question is 75%. So it is important that we are precise with our answer. X equals 75. Okay, that's good. But what percent? 75% of 56 is 42. We can get a bunch of different types of answers here. Or I'm sorry, different types of questions here. For example, we might be asked what percent, not what percent. Let's do a different one than that one. Let me look one up here that we can find. Here we go. One. Not that one. Let's look up. Yes. What is 25% of 144? So now we already have one of my ratios, 25%, and I can write that out, 25 over 100. I am comparing that to a value that I've been given. What is 25% of 144? Well, if I was to ask you to solve this, you would probably just take 144 and you would multiply it by 1/4, because 25% is really 1/4. 25 over 100 is 1/4. So what would that value be? Well, that's the same as saying, well, look, what is x over 144? Remember, 144 is my whole. 144 is my whole. I'm looking for the part. What is 25%? What is a part of, what is 25% of 144? So x is now my part. And so I take 25 and I multiply it into 144. That's 3456. And I multiply x into 100. So I cross multiply 3456. And I divide both sides by 100. And that's going to give me 34.56. That is my value. That is the part of 144. That is 25%. So 34.56 is 25% of 144. And one more thing that could happen is 25% or 20% of what number is 80 could be another example that we could get. So 20% of what is 80? Okay, so again, remember, of what is my whole, and 80 is my part. So I have 20%, that's 20 over 100. My whole, or my, 80 is my part, and my whole is x. I don't know what my whole is. 20% of what? Of what value am I taking 20% of in order to get 80? So I cross multiply. 20x is equal to 80 and two more zeros. And that's going to be equal to, I believe, 40, 400. So 400, 20% of 400 is going to give me the value 80. Now, it is very possible that they can flip the script on you. For example, they might ask you, what is 125% of 12.8? So let's do that. What is 125% of 12.8? Well, 125% is represented as 125 over 100. Of 12.8 is my whole, and I need to know my part. Well, obviously, x is going to be greater than 12.8 because 125 is greater than 100 in this case. But I'm going to multiply this out. That's 125 times 12.8. And that gives me 1600. 100x is equal to 1600. So therefore, x is equal to 16. So yeah, if I take 125% of 12.8, I will get the value 16. So it's possible they can flip the script on you where they can ask you a question where the percentage is actually something greater than 100. 125% is 1.25%, or I should just say that you're multiplying something, a value by like 1.25. This happens a lot when you want to say like something is raising every year by like say 25%. Then you would take that value and you would multiply it by 1.25, and that would be your new value for that year. And then you would do it again, take that new value, multiply it by 1.25. You're taking the value and you are increasing it, because that's what's going on here. The value is being increased by 125%. It's being increased from its older value. But if I were to take like 50%, let's say like I lose 50% of my money every year. I start with 1,000. That's half, so I'm left with 500 one year. Then half of that is 250, and so on and so on. If you were to graph that, it would look like a curve that approaches zero. So we will definitely be looking into all of this, especially when it comes to, percentages, especially when it comes to, what happens when I do when I'm adding more than 100%, or I'm multiplying more than 100% when I'm dividing by 100%. In fact, we can even do this with a simple interest formula, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. A simple interest formula looks like the following. It is I is equal to PRT. And I need to know all of what these values are. I is simply the interest, and P is the principal, R is the rate, and T is the time. If it's said that I deposited $840, that's my principal. And it earns a simple interest rate of 4.5% a year. That's basically, we'll just write that down as 4.5%. And that is going to be equal to, that's my rate. Okay. And then it's going to be held. I want to keep the money in an account for 4 years. So 4 years is my time. Now, is that the same as my rate? That's one thing we do need to keep track of. Is the rate the same as using the same unit measurement as my time? Most of these problems are going to do that, and that is the case. 4.5% per year, and so we don't have to worry too much about any complications to this equation. So we will then put all of this information into my equation here. Principal is 840. It's going to be multiplied by 4.5%. We need to therefore then convert that. That's going to be 0.045 divided by 100. Or maybe just multiply that by 0.045. I mean, that's 0.45 divided by 100. So yeah, I'm sorry. That's redundant. And then we multiply this by 4. And this would be the expression that we need to simplify, and therefore I is going to be equal to 151 and $151.20. That is going to be what you have earned based on interest, and that's going to be what you have earned over 4 years based on interest. So that money, why it's equal to I, that is the interest that you are actually going to earn on your money over the case of 4 years, and with that 4.5 percentage increase in your money. So what you're really going to do is you're going to add that to your principal, and that's going to be the money that you now have in your account.